A minute. We call it, let me take a pen here. We call it the standard probability density functions, and we call them PDFs. So I hope, yeah, I'm sharing that one. So here we are now, standard PDFs. So those were just generally some overall, but we have standard that are known everywhere. And there are 3 of them. Definitely there are many, but we are going for a course to discuss only 3 of them. So one of them will be called binomial. The other one will be called Poisson. And the other one will be called normal distribution. So for the normal distribution, I'm going to teach you in a physical class because we have tables for it. So this is another one. This will require physical class. That will be our last lesson, definitely. For binomial and Poisson, I'm going to teach you today. So when I said we left with other 2 classes, I didn't count this one. So today we shall cover Poisson and binomial distribution. Next week, of course, it will be still online. We shall cover something to do with linear regression and correlations. So that next week, but one, God willing, we shall cover normal distributions in a physical class, and that will be the end of this semester. So that come up next year, we shall have a cat, and definitely, you know, when we talk about cats, it's sitting, so that during Christmas you'll have an ample time to do the revision. But I know you, and I don't want to be told who you are. Hi. So let's go. Let's start a lesson. Let's start with binomial distribution. Binomial distributions. And I hope you have a pen and maybe a book, so that it can be easier for us to discuss. And just write. A variable x, is said to have a variable x is said to have a binomial probability density function. A variable x is said to have a probability density function if the distribution has a function of the form. So write it nicely. P of x is equals to nx, just like the way I'm writing. Don't write like it's a fraction. It's just n and x, that way, the way I've written. P of x, p power x, sorry, then q power n minus x. So are we together at that point? Thumbs up so that we can if that is the truth, let me explain why is it important. It's always, yes, Shamim, maybe.
Would you kindly repeat? I lost you, kidogo. The definition.
Okay, I'm saying a random variable or just a variable x is said to have a binomial PDF, probability density function, a variable x is said to have a binomial PDF if the distribution takes the function, if the distribution take the function, this one, the one that I've written in the blackboard or in the whiteboard, sorry. Hi, all right. Now, let me explain why is this important, because that is one of the things that a student should understand. Why do we have binomial distribution? Let me take you back to the good old days in high school. The good old days here, they're coming. So I have to come here and add another page here. George. I wanted to add another board here, but it seems I'm growing old because I can't see where we are the board. Anyway, no pressure. So in high school, Form 2, you were told, for example, the question was posed this way. George tosses a coin once. So when ile mambo yako ukiharakisha useme, if he tosses a coin once, ukichora kitu kilitangwa 3 diagram, useme hapa kuna H na hapa kuna tail. Haya, ukisema probability ya kupata head ni nusu na probability probability ya kupata head ni nusu na probability ya kupata tail ni nusu. Haya, mwalimu angeifanya so sweet akuambie, what about now if he tosses a coin twice? You could continue the same process. Uchore head na tail, head na tail. So ugendelea bado na half. The old teachers could even make it sweet for you so that you can struggle and you can appreciate the hardness of mathematics, and they tell you the coin was tossed 3 times. So you could begin with the same process. This was one of the questions that every student could pass because he could draw another head and tail. But I believe you people have already paid more than 100,000 so far. Even let's call them 0.25 million. Do you think we should continue drawing the same? Do you think we should continue drawing the same 3 diagrams? So the big question is, what about now if we really want to toss the coin 10 times? Of course, it is tedious for a person who have already paid 0.25 million to draw the 3 diagram 10 times. And now that's why we have the binomial distribution. The binomial distribution. Bi meaning 2, of course. And now we have a distribution having 2 variables, a head or a tail. Will they train or will it not train? So it has a countable. It has countable number of items, and that's why we're calling it the binomial distribution. So let me now erase here so that you can write something here. So we can erase all this part. So let's define everything here. let's define everything here. So you have written the formula. So let's say P is the probability of success. And you know, success means what are we aiming to? If you aim to get ahead, the probability of getting ahead is half. So the probability of success for such a random variable is half. Q is probability of failure. Whatever the variable that you are choosing, what is the opposite of it? So what is the probability of the opposite of it? So ladies and gentlemen, what is P plus Q? Summary. What is P plus Q?
1.
1. So that is true. That the probability of success plus the probability of failure is always 1. So if somebody gives you P, you can easily get Q. Higher. So the one that I had written NX is something that you have seen. And where did we see it? Let me see whether we ever seen. Of course, you saw it in high school or in diploma mathematics. This means NCX. NCX. So everybody has a calculator. So wherever you are, take your calculators out, please, because it's always good to know how to apply this guy. NCX. So do you see where it is written NCR or NCX? So if you can see it, maybe you can give me the dabs up so that we can be together. So sometimes it is in the second row of the calculator, and sometimes it is, I don't know, multiplication or division. Anybody can see it in multiplication, division, so that you can easily use a calculator. For example, would you please place 5C2? 5C2. And please give me an answer. Alvin has said 10. So anybody who can confirm if still you can get a 10. Okay. At least 2 people have gotten 10, 10. Most have used 4 years.
In my calc, I see NCR. Is it the same thing?
Yeah, it's the same thing.
All right.
So you just place it. I think sometimes you have to shift something, shift multiplication, shift division, or it is somewhere there in the second row of your calculator, or that row, I don't know. But you people have a calculator. I know you're at home, so I know somebody have already removed the calculator from the shop. So it is not that one. It is a scientific calculator, FX100. So make sure you use a calculator that functions well. Anyways, 5C2 is 10, and you can always see that. So let's get back here. Of course, X is basically a number that moves from 0, 1, 2, up to n. So if I really want 5 heads, you tell me that X is 0, 1, 2, up to 5. But anyway, with that said, say this. The mean of this variable, we don't have time to prove it because it's a big example. The mean of this variable is NP. So if somebody asks you, what is the mean of the binomial distribution? It's always NP. Of course, N is the number of the possible outcomes, and of course, P is the probability of success. And the variance is basically NPQ. So those are the formulas that you're supposed to always memorize And basically, you people, you know, in campus now, we don't memorize. I saw it in your last exam for OD. You don't care about the memorizing. You only care about the sitting positions and whoever invigilates. But anyway, niko na nyinyi. So with that said, but you make sure now this time, at least you know how to do. At least beba kitu kwa akili. Beba kitu wale kwa simu. Anyways. Higher. So let's take a question, please. Let's take a question. One question or two. Then we go to poison. Then we call it a day. At least, so as I list, that's why I'm telling you. At least know something. Know something. Remember, I told you I also wanted to become an engineer, but here I am, a teacher. So who knows? You can also become a teacher. And every time you are teacher, students expect you to have the knowledge of it. Now tell me, you have been using your phone, you have been using your chat GTP. Even I got a student who is even writing commas, the way chat GTP is writing, you know, in ODE. So the chat GTP kisema sijui something, comma. The formula for what was it? The separable, the linear ODEs. I know you don't remember what is a linear ODE because you know whatever you did, and you're just writing everything. At least have an idea. Have an idea. Have an idea. That when you become a teacher. But anyway, don't mind. Don't mind. The generation that is coming here, they don't care about whether you have the idea or not. So borake tu hata kuwa mwalimu, wewe simama pale mbele kwa class, then ukilemewa na kitu wapee swali lingine. Jifanye unachukua simu, toka nje kidogo, ongea na Siri, mwambie shida ni nini. And then it continues. But sasa shida ni ukitokea hapo nje upatane na principal ashinde kwani walimu walimu wenye na ajili huku. Anyway, see your life. At least you only have 2 units in mathematics left. One is called probability. And you know, when you are employed, for example, in Tibet or whatever, you'll be expected to, if you are teaching an engineering course, you will be expected, of course, maybe at some point to teach mathematics, originally mathematics. So you have to get some ideas here. So at least the next 2 topics, 2 syllables or 2 courses that you are left, that is, of course, probability and statistics. And the next one will be numerical methods. At least have an idea. Have an idea. Hi, that was just a commercial break. Maybe I was also using Siri to give you an example. Anyways. Let's take an example. Let's take an example. An example here. Suppose a coin. Suppose a coin. Of course you're writing. Of course you're writing whatever you want. Suppose a coin is tossed. Let me read the formula for toast. So don't write ile mayai toast. It is tossed. Suppose a coin is tossed 10 times. Suppose a coin is tossed 10 times. And X represents the number of heads outcome, and X represent the number of head outcomes. Of course, you have written the question. Find Roman 1. Find Roman 1. What has happened here? Find Roman 1. The probability of getting number 1, sorry, the probability of getting, of course, let's put here, getting Roman 1, 2 heads, Roman 2, at the most 3 heads, number 4, at least 4 heads. Sorry, let's put at least 2 heads so that we can simplify our work. Higher. So, first of all, is to realize we are using the binomial distribution because we said kama ni high school ungechora 10 tree diagrams zikifuatana hivyo hivyo, but sasa at least you have an idea. The simplified use of tree diagrams is by the use of the binomial distributions, because here we only have 2 outcomes. We only have 2 outcomes. The outcome can be an head when it is a coin, and the outcome can be a tail still when you toss. But this X, we have been told X be the head outcomes. To save wakati, what is P? You are tossing a coin. What is P? Of getting a head. So the probability of success of getting this X.
1 minus X.
Somebody else, please. That's right. Aya, P ni nini? Ate John huwa gitel. Aya. Aha. You ready for a second of day. In the next generation, also want to become a teacher, by the way. Because anyways, the schools are closed, by the way. So make sure you at least your younger siblings don't see your answers, because sometimes they're funny. P, let's go to the, anyway, don't take me seriously, John. So of course we know P. Sorry. Now you can see now somebody is using an automotive machine still reasoning mathematics. Higher. Anyway, so P, remember we said it is a probability of getting a success. And we say the success here is getting ahead. So P is 0.5. I together, my friend John. Haya. John, tuko pamoja hapo? Haya, Q. Okay, don't mind. Q is still the probability of getting a failure, and of course we said it is definitely be 0.5, because if it's not a head tail. Hi, let's go. What is n, please? N is what?
10 times.
10. So n is 10. So the number of possible outcomes, of course, we know it is 10. So that is something that is basic. So we have already. So let's go to the first question. What is the probability of getting 2 heads? 2 heads. So the question now simplify and tells us the number of x should be exactly 2. So we go to the formula. What is the formula? The formula says the probability of getting something according to the binomial distribution. It is nx p power x q power n minus x. So Roman 1 of the question, so we can write it here. Roman 1 of the question is basically p when x is 2. So you can say x is equals to 2 into brackets here. So is equals to n, we say it is 10 times 2, x is 2, p is 0.5, or let me say q is still 0.5, power n minus x. N minus x is basically 10 minus 2, that is basically 8. So ladies and gentlemen, what is 10 to? 10 to, and we say 10x using a calculator, it says 10c2. So do somebody press 10c2 for me. 10c2, kindly.
45.
45. So somebody can also confirm that the answer is 45.
45.
The answer is 45. Perfect. So would you now place the calculators nicely and give me the final answer? What is? So do place the calculator.
Mwalimu niko na
What
swali.
is it?
Hii 10 ndio 10C2. I've been writing 10 over 2.
It will be
10 over x.
What did I write in the formula? Did I write n fraction x, or just write nx? Maybe I was the one who was the problem. But I believe I wrote the nx, so it is not like a fraction.
Also, okay.
Yeah, it was NCR or NCX.
Thank you.
Somebody give me. It's all right. Higher. Calculators.
0.044.
So somebody can also confirm 0.004. Sorry, I beg your pardon.
0.044.
That way. So the probability of getting 2 heads is basically 0.044.
Sijapata hiyo.
Umepata gapi?
Hata iwezi semeka.
Okay, just say it. It's an answer. Remember, mathematics has diversity. So what is the answer? Just say it.
Probability is supposed to be 1. Nimepata 4.39.
4.39. Does it has 10 times? Hapo juu umeona paliandikwa 10 power negative 2.
Yes.
So it means
Nimepata 0.03. Then hizi values zingine za 0.5 to power 2, then hiyo 45 ya 10C2. Am I supposed to multiply all of them?
yes, multiply all of them. 45 times 0.5 squared times 0.58.
Okay, let me try.
Samir,
Yes.
where did you buy the calculator? Or it was imported by somebody that you don't have an idea who was that? I can tell you it came from your eye. Maybe he might have cheated you that she got it from abroad, but every student here knows where you got the calculator. Anyway. Okay, So that is
yes. No, found that. Calculated
now he has given you the he has given you the actual calculator. Akakwambia he usitumie sahi. Anyway, anyway, let's continue. Higher. So the next question is at most 3 heads. At most 3 heads. At most 3 heads. So I still erase here. Remember, just assume that now I give you such a question in exam, and I give you. Let's agree. Do you really require a phone? For those who require phones, hands up, please. Hi. Hi. So you don't require a phone because it's a simple question that you'll be given maybe 10 marks. But because you don't believe in yourself sometimes, strategic positions, what do you call it? Vetting of the invigilator. What else? What else? Vetting of the actual time, it should be at 2 p.m. And the next one, heavy jackets and workable calculators. See, you don't require it. Higher. It is here. 2 heads, at least 2 heads. So sorry, at most 3 heads. So if let's see, maybe the problem can also be not mathematical, it can also be grammatical. If somebody asks you, give me at most 3 students, how many people will you bring? If somebody asks you, give me, please bring at most 3 heads, 3 students, how many students will you bring, please?
Not more than 3.
Somebody have said he'll bring 3, not more than 4. Of course, if somebody tells you at the most kumaanisha wakienda sana. Wakienda sana, wasipitishe watatu. So what will be your X here? Yes, that is true. 1, 2, 3, but you have forgotten a value. So somebody else can have another guess. Yes, we still have a 0. So at most 3 hands. So you can bring even 0. Because assume you are in a party. Not a wedding party, like after you finish this probability statistics. Your friend tells you, I have a party, bring at most 3 people. Of course, you can bring 0 so that you can enjoy the lifetime of them. So that is it, 0, 1, 2, 3. So here we have 4 scenarios. So X can be, here it is. So we are doing question number 2. X can be 0, 1, 2, 3. So you do all the probabilities, then you add them. For example, let's start. So the probability of X is equals to, tuanze ya kwanza, nx. Siko na formula 10, 0. What was P? 0.5 power 0, because it is P power X. Q, that is 0.5 power 10 minus 0, I believe that is 10. Plus, you add the next one for 1, 10 C1, 0.5 power 1, 0.5 power 9, plus 10 to 0.5 power 2, multiplied by 0.5, so I don't have a space here, multiplied by 0.5 power 8. Then 10 3 plus 10 3, 0.5 power 3, 0.5 7. So are you to get up that point? So that we don't have to wait for you to use a calculator, so you can do it at your free time. Are you to get up that point? Are we together? So at your free time, you can use a calculator for that, because that's a matter of a calculator. Haya, mtu akikwambia at least 2 heads, nikikwambia bring at least 2 students, utaleta watu wangapi? Haya, Arvin has said 012. Somebody else who have another suggestion? Perfect. Shamim have it. That if somebody tells you to have at least ni kumaanisha zikienda dogo sana wakuwe wawili. So, but here we have it like the value of x that we can get to be bigger, it is 10, and we know that one because the total number of outcaps were 10. So we can only have 10. So we are going to move it from 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But can I ask you a question? Let me write it here. Let me erase here. So we can also erase here because we already done with the questions. So if somebody asks you the mean, you know how to do it. But anyway, let's see. Hi. I know you are shining with the calculators, but I want you to think about it nicely. So we are saying that Roman 3 for at least 2 heads, so x is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Don't you think this is a tedious work? Like, najua hapo utaanza safari 10 to 0.5 power 2, 0.5 power 8 plus blah 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 mpaka ya mwisho. So somebody with another idea, what can we do to simplify the work? Hands up, please. How else can we do to simplify the work? Because it is tedious using a calculator. Somebody. Wachani kunipotezea wakati. Niambieni. But then rahisi kufikiria. Like badala ya kufanya 10 to
bring both numbers. You do both 10.
You do both 10. No. But it's a good try. Probability of 10 minus probability of 2. John, you have an idea, but it is not coming out very well. But that is the point. N minus 10 plus n minus 2. What does the student? Not really. Not no. Somebody else. But then, wacha kuoverthink, ni rahisi. Mnajua sasa tukiendelea hivi, mimi nitaanza do the probability of the mean number. No, not really. Haya. But then ni rahisi, wacha kuoverthink. Yes, Christopher.
Can we work with, because they've said at least 2 heads. Can we do 2 heads? Then we can bring those 2 heads, or also we can bring those 10 heads. Then we add them together.
Not really. Somebody else. Yeah, thank you for all those trials. For those people who have not tried, I have a simple question for all of you. Kwani msomea kwa mtu nyumbani high school ama primary? Because asa I'm fikiriagi sometimes. Anyways, Haya. Haya. So no, definitely. Haya, can I ask you a question? What would be if what would be if I start the probability? What is the probability from 0 to 10? The total probability of them, if I start from 0 to 10, it will be 1, because the probability can never go beyond 1. So the easiest way is to only say it is. So the probability is the same as 1 minus probability of getting 0, 1. Because hii yote zote ziko zote from 0 to 10, zote ziko except from 0 and 1. So I can basically say it is 1 minus 10, 0, 0.5 power 0, 0.5 power 10, plus 1 ni 10, 1, 0.5 power 1, 0.5 power 9. As simple as that. Hivyo tuko pamoja. Perfect. People are appreciating it. Anyways, that is it. Are we to get up to that point? Higher. So let's go to the last distribution. Okay, I can give you a question. Write it. Whatever you are. Anyway, hiyo story ya watu kusomea kwa mtu nyumbani si hata saa hii. Haya. Let's see. Write a question. Nairobi Hospital treats Nairobi Hospital treats rape victims reported. Sorry, Nairobi which sorry, Nairobi Hospital which treats Nairobi Hospital which treats rape victims reported that Nairobi Hospital which treats rape victims reported that 70% reported that 70% of the victims 70% of the victims are infected with STDs. Are infected with STDs. STDs. Full stop. In a particular month, the hospital treated 8 rape victims. 8 rape victims. The question is, determine the probability. Determine the probability. Determine the probability. None of the victims, none. Hakuna, like here, none. Just some people are Catholics here, they can say either none, no. None of the victims were infected. Number 2, at least 2 victims were infected. At least 2 victims were infected. Number 3, all were infected. All were infected. So let me jumpstart you so that you can tell me everything now here. somebody can, okay, of course, this is Nairobi Hospital. So we are getting rape victims. And you know, if somebody is raped, there is a maybe high chances, maybe he was infected with the disease, STD, or not. Fortunately, that is it. So the person can be infected, and the person can be infected. So in that hospital, 1 month, 8 people showed up, and they said they have rape issues. So now, according to the question, would you tell me these values, N, P, Q? So somebody can tell me what is N, according to the question. N.
8.
8. Perfect. N is 8. P. 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 B3 is 0.5. Not really. P. Enoch Moses 0, not really. John Mwagi 7.3, not really. Enoch or 1, not really. Arvin Victor 0.7. You know, let me tell you one thing. 2003, and I told you this story, many students were the government introduced free primary education, and here you are. Anyways, and you're telling me some answers that even are scaring me. I was there in 2003, so you people should tell me a good answer. You know, what is P? It's a probability of success. What is success are we talking about? You know, success here, according to the question, everything is asking you probability somebody is infected, how many infected. So what is the probability of a rape victim was infected with sexually transmitted disease? It is 0.7. It is 0.7. 0. So this is 8. This is 0.7. Because what was the report? That 70% of the people, and you know 70% is 0.7, were always infected. So ladies and gentlemen, what is Q? At least you can shine with 1. 0.3. Hey, shine. Shine. 0.3. I would not be scared. Somebody is even copy pasting. He do here. Q is 0.3. Higher. Q is 0.3. So you know now at least 2 were infected. So what will be X for that question? So if none is infected, what will be X? Let's start with that one. None is infected. What will be X, please? 0. Perfect. At least 2 are infected. What will be X for that case? At least 2. Sasa unaweza pata mtu like anafikiria na lugha ya nyumbani. Do at least anijibu. Niambie at least 2. Arvin has said 1 and 0. Somebody else, please. At least 2. Yes, Stephen Mugana has said. Stephen Muranga, that is not okay. You know, when you say greater than 2, it doesn't mean that you encroach 2. So, would you please be specific?
1 minus P stroke 0 to 1.
Okay, perfect. But you know, ideally, what was the answer for X? It was what? If somebody wanted to use the wrong route, the wrong Long, he could have said 2 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, up to 8. That is the perfect, and Shamim has it there. Higher. All the infected, so that is simple. X is all. X is all. And what is all? It's basically 8. Higher. Poison. Poison you take 5 minutes because it is a continuation of binomial. Higher. So let me erase here. Now, actually, so by the way, I have not told you how to get a mean and variance. Of course, we know the formula. So if somebody asks you the mean, you just go directly. If somebody asks you the mean or the expected value of x, and we remember we say that is another language for the mean, you just say NPQ. For example, the question that we had done the earlier for the infection, N was 8 people, P was 0.7, Q was 0.3. So you can get this mean. Remember, the mean of items can be more than 1. What can ever be more than 1 is the probabilities. And we know that one from our previous discussion. So, and if, sorry, mean is NP, mean is NP. See, Dr. Isema, variance is on a result, NPQ. So mean is N times P, and you have N is 8, and P is 0.7. If somebody asks you the variance, you just say N times P times Q. I believe that is one is not there. But anyway. Imagine for you to show up in class for 3 hours, then you fail to believe in yourself. Just imagine. You have already wasted a lot of time to show up in class, so just believe in yourself and all shall be well. So don't show up in exams with less of esteem in mathematics. You know, one of the characteristics that students show with less esteem is by showing up in an exam with a phone, one that is silent, in a D&D mode, and the scary part he shows with 1 hour internet bundle. But after that he will not use the bundles. Anyway. Nini nitamtusi mpaka muache hii mambo. So poison. Poison distribution. So I was saying, actually, when we deal with the possible outcomes to be more than 10, we don't use binomial distribution. So that's why I'm saying that poison is an extension of this binomial. So if you get a question that has 10 to infinity, so the values of outcomes, they are more than 10, we don't use binomial. Or when you don't have the number of outcomes. So if the question is so legit, it doesn't give you the number of the outcomes, you will use a poison. So say, a random variable x, we are writing a random variable x is said to have a Poisson distribution if the function, so a random variable x is said to have a Poisson distribution if the function is given by So what is important is to know the formula. E power negative lambda power x out of x factorial. This way. And of course, you have ever seen this sign of factorial. I believe it is in your calculators, unless you're using the shopkeeper calculator. It is somewhere there. Higher. So this lambda, of course, lambda is this one, is basically the mean. And the mean, it can also be NP, because remember we said it's an extension from the binomial distribution. X, nobody have to tell you what is X. Your calculators have this value E, and you can see it. So would you please place for me E and tell me what is E? Most of the calculators is in the second row in the right corner. Naona penye unafinyanga on kuhakikisha calculator iko hapo chini, hapo ile second row, third row. Finya E. Haya, Peter, check have the answer. E is 2.7183. So somebody else can give me an answer E. So for most of the calculators, you have to shift E iandike power 1. Some calculators you have to alpha E. If it is written in that purple, I don't remember which color is that, but I believe you have it in your calculators. It is always 2.7 something. So you only need to know how to put it. Series where x is the number of the successive outcomes. Where x is the number of successive outcomes for where x is the number of the successive outcomes for infinite trials. That's why we say it is relatively many. Let's see. Example. Let's put an example. Let's get a question here. 2% of the books bought by a company a certain bakery company or factory have a defective. Higher. The question is, in a certain, okay, we are writing the question, so I just wanted to write for that spelling for some people. So the series, in a certain month, the factory, or the company actually, the company bowed 500 books. Bowed 500 books. And that is clear that way. 500 books. Find the probability. Find the probability. Number one. Number one. Exactly 2 books have a defective. Number 2, none had a defective. Element 3, at least 2 had a defective. Haya, I hope you have written the question. I hope you have written the question. Haya, sometimes ni vizuri kuelezea watu na lugha ya Kiswahili ndio waelewe hii mambo. Nilimwambia hii mambo ya kufunza mahesabu hata sisi ni kufikishiwa, tulifikishiwa. So leo nimfikishie. Kuna company ya kutengeneza vitabu Sikubaida. So 2%, so every day, not every day, like we are just doing a random sample, that 2% of the books zinakuanga na kashida. Maybe ni cover, maybe wameweka cover bili, such cases. So one day the company ikatengeneza vitabu 500. So hatujui ni gapi ziko na kashida, hatujui ni gapi hazina kashida. But we know that 2% of the books, most of the times, they have that kashida. So the question is, what is N? What is P? What is Q? For example, if somebody can ask you what is N. N is 500. Perfect. N is 500. So because the company made 500 books. What about P? What is P? What is
0.02?
0.02. Shamim, we have missed a 0 because it is 2%. It is not 20%. 0.02 because 2%, because the question is speaking about defective. So the probability of getting something, success doesn't mean like it is always a good one. It basically means whatever we are concentrating our focus on. Hi, remember the number of trials here, they are more than 10. And if they are more than 10, the easiest thing to use is the Poisson distribution, because we have more than 500 trials or more than 500 books that we are supposed to sample. So the big question is here. So the first question, so I can erase here because you have understood the question. So we can come here and say that X is, for example, the first question, we only need exactly 2 books, so X is 2. Remember the formula for Poisson, it is P of X is equals to E power negative lambda power X or over X factorial. So the only thing that we don't have, it is lambda. So remember lambda, we said lambda is the mean, and the mean is always N times P, and you know that one. So the mean, actually, maybe you can say it somewhere, the mean and the variance are always the same for Poisson distribution. Mean is the same as variance. But anyway, NP, so for example, our book is 500 times 0.02. So what is 500 times 0.02? When you are somewhere for nyumba, unatumia calculator. It is 10. Alright, so we can now go to our question and we say, so the answer is so E power negative 10 power x is 2 all over 2 factorial. Remember, all our calculators have 2 factorials, but if you do not know what is 2 factorial, it is the one that we say mathematically is 2 times 1. Mtu akikuuliza 3 factorial namwambia ni 3 times 2 times 1. I remember I told you such a story somewhere. Ama sio nyinyi? Ama mlisahau? So but anyway, you have the calculator. Would you please give me that answer so that we can check whether you know how to use a calculator? Answer please. Hmm?
.27 times 10 raised to power negative 3.
Change it into decimals. Ama nisikupe pressure. Zero 0.00227. Yeah, it is the same answer. And that is how we do it. None had a defective, so x will be 0, isn't it? What about at least 2 had a defective? Somebody please. Of course, you are going to use a calculator. So, but the question is, what is x? At least 2 had a defective. What is x, please? Somebody. We are closing, and of course, the time is up. Stephen Moganazil. Okay, I'm speaking about the bad question. At least 2 had a defective. What would be x? So x, you know, at least 2. Kumbuka ulete 2 ni 2, 3, 4. So hapa utaenda mpaka 500. So utaanza safari 2, 3, 4, 5. Before ufikishe 200, si utakuwa umechoka. Na unajua ati wewe unategemewa na wenye wako nyuma yako ati wapee answer. So the easiest way it is to use that trick that I told you. It is 1 minus. So for this one it will be. So for this one, of course, x will be 0. So you can plug it. So this one will be x is 2, 3, ... up to 500. So for that question, you can say it is p of x. You just say, you first, so you can say it is 1 minus the probability. X is 0 and 1. So it will be easier for you to do. So you plug in 0 and you plug in 1, and then you will have maneuvered. Ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, have a good week. Till we meet next week for the online class, and next week but one for a physical class. Wait a minute. Next week but one will be, what will be the date? Maybe it will be the holiday. And next 5, 6. It will not be a holiday. It will be on 13th. So we meet then. But kama hamtaki kuniona, naweza mwambia tafuta kwa tebo. Do hiyo mnafanya then. But anyway, we shall
Since will be next, I think will be.
So that thing will be.
That is not it. And on the extension. Can you shift the next week to become physical? Then that thing will be online. How do you see about it?
The same.
Okay. I will communicate next Saturday. Haya. Oh, mnataka kupagua date yangu na nyinyi msimpague yenu. Okay.
Hiyo next week alafu hiyo ingine ndiko online.
Anyway, sipagui yangu, hata mkisikia ati nikijifanya nafikiria.
You think about it and communicate during the week.
Sipagui. Nyinyi jipageni. Jipageni. Anyway, we can also make it next week, but to nyinyi pageni makini next Saturday. Hey. What? Anyway, we shall keep on touch. Anyway, after tunaweza iweke next year, no pressure. Next year you have like how many weeks? January yote, February yote, February up to the maybe hata kuna February, it is January yote. But nyinyi mtaniambia. Mkitaka nifungue mwaka na nyinyi sina shida. Haya. We meet next week. Have a nice weekend. Say hi to everyone there and be blessed.
Thank you.
Okay, all right.
John.
Yes, John. Oh, okay. No question.